His mouth was still on my neck when I told him I was pregnant. I felt his breath stop. Not slow down. Not hitch. It stopped. His hands, which were caressing my thighs just moments before, turned into dead weight on my skin. My back was arched underneath him, clinging to what used to be love. But his silence crushed everything. The air around us thickened like smoke, but I was the only one burning. He did not scream. He did not cry. He just pulled away, zippered up his pants, and without looking at me, said, "You will figure something out." He walked out of my apartment at 10:43 p.m. on a Tuesday. I remember the time because it was the moment the old me died. He never came back. And yes, I gave birth to his daughter alone, with tears soaking my hospital gown and his name still in my phone, untouched, unsent, unworthy. But years later, when the light in my life began to shine again, when my world was whole without him, that was when he returned. Regret does not knock. It crashes. And when Jason came back, I was not the girl begging him to stay. I was the woman holding all the cards, and he did not even know the rules anymore. To everyone who has subscribed, I appreciate you deeply for fueling this space with your support. If you are new or returning but have not yet subscribed, I am truly grateful for your time. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button, because it is the heartbeat that powers this channel. Also, share your thoughts in the comments. Your words matter, your voice keeps this journey alive. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Ava Miller. I grew up in Michigan, but by 24, I was living in a cozy suburb just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I was the type of girl who laughed loud, trusted too easily, and romanticized everything, especially love. I met Jason Brooks at the gym. He was the kind of man who made women pause mid-rep, muscles chiseled, voice velvet, and a jawline that could slice through silence. He owned the place, and I was just a receptionist trying to make rent and chase dreams of interior design on the side. He noticed me on my first day, called me sunshine with legs. I blushed so hard I nearly forgot how to breathe. Jason had charm. That dangerous kind. The kind that held your waist like it belonged there and whispered lies so sweet you mistook them for poetry. We started seeing each other, casually at first. But the passion was wildfire. There was no slow build, it was a collision. Our relationship was made of sweat-soaked sheets, stolen weekends in mountain cabins, and the kind of kisses that felt like they would leave bruises on your soul. He used to look at me like I was the only thing he saw. His hands always found their way under my clothes, and I never stopped him. I never wanted to. There were red flags, sure. He never introduced me to his family, even though I had already told my mom I thought he might be the one. He said he was busy, always expanding the gym or dealing with finances. I believed him. He also never stayed the night unless it was convenient for him. I told myself it was because he was a light sleeper. Love makes fools out of women who deserve to be queens. It was a warm May evening. I had been feeling nauseous for days and decided to take a test. I remember sitting on the toilet, holding that tiny stick like it held the secrets of the universe. 2 pink lines. I stared at them for a full 5 minutes before my hands started to shake. A flood of emotions hit me, fear, joy, confusion, but most of all, hope. I thought Jason would be scared but excited. Maybe even cry. We had made something together. Something real. So I invited him over. I cooked his favorite, Cajun salmon and garlic mashed potatoes. I wore the lace bodysuit he liked and lit the candles he once said made my apartment smell like heaven's kitchen. We made love like nothing was wrong. And then, I told him. The silence was worse than a scream. It was an insult to everything we had ever shared. When he left, I sat on the floor, wrapped in a blanket of disbelief. My body still smelled like him. My lips still tingled from his kiss. But he was gone. Days passed. I called, texted, left voicemails. Each one more desperate than the last. No reply. I even went to the gym. He had removed me from the staff system. I stood at the front desk like a ghost, staring at the new girl behind the counter who looked like a younger, blonder version of me. Jason was in his office. I could see the back of his head. He never turned around. That night, I packed away every memory. I blocked his number. I deleted our photos. But no matter what I did, I could not delete the life growing inside me. My friends told me to get rid of it. They said I had my whole life ahead of me. That Jason was not worth it. That I would hate the child. But when I looked at my ultrasound for the first time, I saw a flicker of a heartbeat and burst into tears. This was my child. Mine. Not his. He might have left me, but I would not leave her. So I named her Lila, even before she was born. I worked 2 jobs. I designed bedrooms for wealthy housewives during the day and stocked shelves at a pharmacy overnight. I cried in the shower, threw up in trash cans, and whispered lullabies to my belly every night. But I never gave up. Because I knew, deep down, that the Ava who loved Jason had died that night. And a new Ava, one born of pain, purpose, and protection, was beginning to rise. When I look back on those 9 months of pregnancy, I do not remember glowing. I remember surviving. My belly grew alongside my bitterness. Every stretch mark was a badge of war. Every doctor's appointment was a reminder that the man who helped create this life had vanished like a coward into the wind. There was no baby shower. No excited grandparents. No doting father with a hand on my stomach whispering dreams into our daughter's ears. Just me, swollen ankles, a cracked phone screen, and the constant ache of betrayal. But pain, if you sit with it long enough, sharpens you. And I was becoming sharp. I gave birth on a rainy Wednesday afternoon in December. My body trembled from the effort, and my scream echoed through the hospital halls like an unanswered prayer. When the nurse placed Lila in my arms, I cried for all the right reasons, and all the wrong ones. She was beautiful. A tiny bundle of warmth with Jason's piercing eyes and my mother's cheekbones. But I hated that part of me wanted him there. I hated that I still fantasized about him bursting through the hospital doors, dropping to his knees, begging me for forgiveness. It did not happen. I took Lila home in a cab. I placed her in a thrift store crib in the corner of my 1-bedroom apartment and promised her she would never feel abandoned, not like I had. But promises are heavy when you are carrying them alone. I was drowning. Bills stacked up. I lived off instant noodles and discount formula. I breastfed with cracked nipples and cried through the nights she would not sleep. I developed a fierce kind of strength, not the kind people write poems about, but the quiet kind that gets you out of bed when your body is shaking and your soul is tired. Still, I was breaking. Until someone I never expected walked back into my life. I ran into Marcus at the grocery store. He was Jason's cousin, the quiet one who used to hang around the gym. He was always polite, a bit reserved, nothing like Jason. He used to watch me when I worked the front desk, never with lust, but something softer. When he saw me in the baby aisle, with a stroller and coupons in my shaking hand, he froze. Then he smiled. "Is that?" "Yes," I said before he could finish. "This is Lila. Jason's daughter." His eyes widened, but he did not say anything cruel or smug. He just bent down, looked into Lila's sleeping face, and whispered, "You are going to be incredible." That was the beginning of something I never saw coming. Marcus started checking in on me. First with small things, offering to carry groceries, fixing a leaky pipe, dropping off food. Then it became deeper. He sat with me during sleepless nights. He held Lila when I needed to cry. He listened to my silence and answered it with presence. He never made a move. He never pressured me. He was just there. And for someone who had been left in the most brutal way, that meant everything. With Marcus's encouragement, I took on more design clients. I revamped my old website, posted photos of nursery makeovers, and slowly, painfully, began to believe in myself again. My business grew. So did Lila. By the time she turned 3, I had tripled my income, moved into a better apartment, and began to laugh again. Not the kind of laugh you fake in front of strangers, but the real, belly-deep kind that makes your eyes water. I had curves now, not from sorrow but from survival. I wore my confidence like armor. I stopped wondering what Jason would think of me if he saw me. But fate, or maybe karma, has a twisted sense of timing. Because that was exactly when he came back. It happened on a Sunday. I was at the park with Lila. She was chasing pigeons in her red overalls, and I was sipping an iced coffee, watching her with that warm ache of motherhood. Then I saw him. Jason. He looked expensive. Designer sunglasses, a Rolex, custom sneakers, and a haircut that screamed private barber. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. But then he smiled that crooked smile, the one that used to melt me. "Is that her?" he asked, nodding toward Lila. I stood still. Every bone in my body tensed like a soldier facing her old commander. "What do you want?" I asked. He shrugged. "I was in the area. Heard things about you. Your business. Thought I would see for myself." I scoffed. "You were not there when she was born. You do not get to see for yourself now." But he would not stop. He came by again. Then again. He started sending gifts. Toys. Money. Flowers. It was not guilt. It was performance. He was trying to play catch-up in a race he abandoned. And when he found out about Marcus, things got even uglier. Jason stormed into my apartment one evening like he still had a right to be there. I had just put Lila to sleep. Marcus was sitting on the couch, helping me sort through design contracts. Jason's eyes narrowed the second he saw him. "You are sleeping with my cousin," he spat. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of the sheer audacity. "You walked out on me when I was pregnant. You erased me from your life. And now you are angry because someone stayed when you ran?" Jason lunged toward Marcus, but he stood up calmly, blocking him. "I am not here to fight you," Marcus said. "But if you think you can waltz back into their lives without earning it, you are mistaken." Jason looked at me, eyes blazing. "This is not over." "No," I said coldly. "You are right. It is not." Because I still did not know why he left. And I was going to find out. Later that night, I sat on the floor of my living room, holding Lila's favorite stuffed animal. Marcus came and sat beside me. "Do you want me to leave?" he asked gently. I shook my head. "No. But I need to know. I need to know why he really left." He did not even argue. He just disappeared. There has to be more to it. Marcus looked torn. Like he knew something but was not sure if he should say it. My heart thudded. "What is it?" I demanded. He hesitated. Then said one sentence that would change everything. "My aunt, Jason's mother, never liked you. And she threatened to cut him off financially if he stayed with you." I blinked. "What?" "She told him you were not good enough. That you would ruin his business. That you were just another receptionist looking for a come-up. She gave him a choice, you or the money. And he chose the money." The room spun. All these years, I thought he left because he did not love me. But he left because someone told him I was not worthy. And he believed them. My heart was a thunderstorm. Marcus's confession about Jason's mother felt like a blade twisting in a wound I thought had already scarred over. After all the nights I cried for Jason, begged for answers in silence, and questioned my worth, it was never about me. It was about control. It was about power. It was about a woman I had never met deciding I was not worthy of her son. And him agreeing. I sat with that truth like poison in my mouth. He left not because he stopped loving me, but because he loved something else more. His money. His image. His mother's approval. It was not better than being unloved. It was worse. I spent the next few days in silence. I took care of Lila. I answered work emails. I cooked. But my soul was pacing. Jason kept texting. Long, emotional paragraphs about how he was sorry, how he made a mistake, how he wanted to be in Lila's life. Not once did he mention what Marcus told me. Not once did he own up to the reason why he walked away. So I decided it was time to confront him, face to face. I texted him to meet me at a local coffee shop. Not the fancy kind. A quiet corner spot where no one would recognize us, and no distractions would protect him from what I had to say. He showed up in a crisp white shirt and a smile too confident for someone who had abandoned his own child. "Thank you for meeting me," he said, sliding into the seat across from me. I leaned in. Calm. Controlled. "I want the truth, Jason." His smile faltered. "I mean the real truth. No more of your half apologies. Why did you leave me?" He hesitated. Looked down at his hands. Then back up. "I was scared," he began. I raised an eyebrow. He sighed. "My mother, she told me if I stayed with you, she would cut me off. No more loans. No more help with the gym. She said you were a liability. That you would hold me back. And you agreed?" I asked, voice sharp. "I did not want to," he said quickly. "I was young. I did not know what to do. I told myself it was temporary. That I would come back once I was stable. But, time passed. Shame kept me away." "Shame?" I nearly laughed. "Do you know what it felt like?" I said. "To be pregnant and alone? To go into labor without the father of my child? To hold my daughter and have no one to share it with? That was not shame, Jason. That was abandonment." He looked away. I continued, "And you stayed away. Not for a month. Not for a year. For over 3 years. No calls. No letters. Nothing. If Marcus had not stepped in, I do not know where I would be." His jaw clenched. "So that is it? You are with him now?" I leaned back, disgusted. "This is not about who I am with. This is about what you did. And what you failed to do." He reached into his bag and pulled out an envelope. "I started a trust fund for Lila," he said. "I want to be part of her life. I am not trying to replace anyone, but I want to try." I opened the envelope. Money. Documents. The works. But I did not feel gratitude. I felt insulted. "You think money fixes this?" I asked, my voice trembling. "No," he said quietly. "But it is a start." I stood up. "You do not get to decide when fatherhood starts. She is not a gym membership you can reactivate at your convenience. She is a person. A little girl who calls Marcus uncle because he earned that. You are a stranger." His eyes flickered with pain. Real pain, maybe for the first time. "I just want a chance," he whispered. I looked at him, this man who once made me feel like the only woman on earth. And now? He looked like a shadow of who he once was. "I will think about it," I said coldly. And I walked away. A week later, Marcus and I sat on the balcony of my apartment. Lila was asleep inside, her favorite nightlight casting stars on the walls. Marcus held my hand, thumb gently rubbing over my knuckles. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I am, processing." He nodded. Then he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small black box. My heart stopped. "Ava," he said, "I have loved you since the moment you fell asleep on my shoulder that night Lila was teething. I have watched you rise from ashes no one else could have survived. You are not just the strongest woman I know, You are the most beautiful soul I have ever seen. And if you will have me, I want to build a life with you. For real. He opened the box. Inside was a delicate diamond ring, simple and stunning. I felt tears fill my eyes. But they were not from pain. They were from joy. I nodded, unable to speak. He slipped the ring on my finger and kissed me, slow and deep. Not like a man claiming something, but like a man honoring something sacred. I allowed Jason a supervised visit with Lila a month later. She was shy around him, confused. He tried. I will give him that. But children can sense things adults try to hide. She never clung to him the way she clung to Marcus. One day, while brushing her hair, she asked me, "Mommy, is Uncle Marcus my real daddy?" I paused. Then said, "He is the daddy who chose us, baby. That is what matters most." Jason texted me again later that year. He wanted to take us to dinner. Said he had changed. I politely declined. Then I blocked his number. Because the truth is, I did not need closure. I was the closure. I was the beginning, the middle, and the ending of my story. He left me when I was pregnant, but I rose from it like a phoenix. Now I have a child who knows love, a man who knows commitment, and a heart that finally knows peace. And Jason? He regrets it. But regret is a prison for the ones who ran. Redemption is for those who stayed.